Good afternoon and welcome to St. Newsfile. I'm Jake Foster. Kyle Hutton will have sports in a bit, but first we're going to check in with Rhea LaHoo, who's outside looking at the weather. Rhea?
Definitely not the spring weather that we are patiently waiting for, but I cannot complain because back in 1951, it was minus 36 degrees, so I really can't feel bad. Today we had a high of minus 8, and last year's high, it's hard to believe, but it was 14 degrees. I know, back in 1885, it was 17.8. So basically 18 degrees, 4 degrees difference there. But yeah, I definitely can't complain here. Jake?
It's nice to see we're warming up a little bit, but you know who else was heating up last night? LeBron James.
Absolutely. He passed Jordan in scoring list, which is pretty amazing, and he was just talking about how much of an inspiration Jordan was to him.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear more about that later. And now let's take a look at today's top stories. Calgary City Council met earlier today to go figure out where they're going to get money to pay for some big new infrastructure projects in our city. Monday, Council approved $1.5 billion in funding for the projects, which include a new event center. As Nathaniel Maurice reports, Council says there won't be any property tax hikes for the project.
City Council was talking about money today, a lot of money. $1.5 billion to be spent on infrastructure projects. Council says that money won't come from the new tax hikes. However, it will come from the city's savings account. Ward 2 Councillor Joe Maglioka wanted the message to be the main focus to avoid any misunderstanding from Calgarians. Although the majority of council voted in favor of the project, one councillor who voted against it wants things to be more transparent.
I think that having that check and balance, something that's not business as usual, should be in place. And I find it still very concerning that Calgarians don't have the information they need in terms of where that money is coming from. I understand that we're working on compiling as much information as we can to be released come March 18th.
Ward 6 Councillor Jeff Davison tweeted the announcement early this week and says he voted in favor of the projects. He says even if the city has the money in place, they will be working hand in hand with the Calgary Municipal Land Corporation to avoid any maintenance issues, and CMLC will be supervising the project.
What we've determined is that there's a bunch of work to be done on engagement, transparency, and ultimately what a framework around the negotiation would be. And so we've decided to form a subcommittee to put that team together and to start looking to find answers to the questions that council had.
Following the event center assessment, Councillor Davison told me he'd be willing to do a future with proof that no extra fundings would be coming from somewhere else to help with the project. For St. Newsfile, I'm Nathaniel Maurice.
Auto theft is a common crime in Calgary, and the stats often go up when winter comes around and the cars are left running to warm up. Calgary police have made 3 arrests in connection with an alleged car theft ring. Christian Oldale has been covering this story for us and joins us live from the newsroom. Chris, what are police expecting this to do to the thefts in our city?
Well, Jake, Calgary police have been investigating the thefts for almost 2 years now, and they believe that the thefts are related to an organized crime ring here in Calgary. Police were alerted in November of 2017 to an increased amount of stolen cars in Calgary. The thieves were apparently instructed to target cars left running in public, as well as vehicles stored in unsafe garages. After the vehicles were stolen, they were reinsured using fraudulent information and sold across Western Canada.
The carrot that is dangled is the consumer getting a deal. However, the more due diligence that the consumer can demonstrate at that point, because very often the deal really is too good to be true.
Back in May, police obtained warrants and raided 8 homes between Calgary and Saskatoon and seized 39 stolen cars worth almost $2 million. They also found marijuana, cocaine, and fentanyl pills. 3 suspects have been arrested and are facing multiple charges, including theft and money laundering.
The matter remains under investigation. We understand that it's conceivable for us to recover vehicles that have moved through this criminal organization still in the future, and those vehicles could be recovered certainly outside of Calgary.
Another person of interest, Sylvian Lefebvre, has warrants out nationwide, and police are continuing to look for him. Back to you, Jake.
Christian Oldale reporting live from the State Newsroom. Anyone with information on this case is urged to call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is not apologizing over the allegations of interference by him and his staff with Jody Wilson-Raybould and the SNC-Lavalin affair. Trudeau said in a news conference today in Ottawa, he takes responsibility for what he described as an erosion of trust between Wilson-Raybould and his team. When pushed as to whether he was offering any apology for the handling of the affair, the Prime Minister offered nothing. The Prime Minister responded by saying, in regards to standing up for jobs and protecting our rule of law, he says there was no inappropriate pressure. The Alberta Party says if it is elected, it would make it mandatory for children to be up to date on their vaccinations if they want to attend publicly funded schools. This statement comes after measles outbreaks in Vancouver and Edmonton. The requirement would apply to schools from elementary to senior high that receive public funding. Parents would need to provide proof that child immunization records are up to date before they would be enrolled. One person is dead following a fatal crash just north of Airdrie on the northbound lanes of the Queen Elizabeth Highway. Emergency crews were called to the area just after 1 this morning. The collision was between a truck and a semi-trailer unit, and the driver of the truck was pronounced dead while the two people in the semi walked away uninjured, and they refused EMS assistance. The highway has since been reopened, but the identity of the deceased has not yet been released. It's no secret the oil and gas industry is a huge part of the economy of both Alberta and Canada as a whole. One process of getting oil has been used for a long time, but a recent stir has caused some concerns. Fracking is hydraulic fracturing. It is a controversial process of injecting a pressurized liquid under the system. The oil field, sorry. Fracking has been careful watch from the public since a 4.6 magnitude earthquake near Red Deer. The cause of the rare quake is being pinned on the operations of Vesta Energy after they reported seismic activity on their site. Earthquakes are uncommon in Alberta, and it's not just fracking that caused it.
The oil field activity. This is generally a misnomer because how the earthquake is seated is sometimes 2 to 3 times the depth that the wellbore is.
Though fracking is being looked at as the main cause of the earthquake, it is not the sole reason and still remains a highly effective method of extracting oil. Canada is among 36 nations, including all 28 European Union members, that issued a joint statement calling on Saudi Arabia to release 10 human rights activists being held captive. Countries are urging Saudi to agree to cooperate in a United Nations-led investigation of the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. This was the first rebuke of the Kingdom of the UN Human Rights Council since it was set up back in 2006. This comes as a result of the growing international concern of Saudi's violation of basic freedoms. The United States did not support the joint statement. Google Maps has added photo radar warnings for drivers. This feature allows users to see speed limits, cameras, and mobile speed traps on their route before they leave. It also gives verbal warning to drivers when they are near a fixed radar. Calgary police are in support of the new feature, saying they've had up to a 50% reduction in collisions in areas where the cameras are stationed, because drivers are slowing down and being safer, which is the ultimate goal. Other changes include banning radar at spots where the speed limit changes on highways and no radars on high-speed highways unless there is documented proof of safety concern. SAIT's annual President's Awards dinner is tonight. The aim of the dinner is to recognize and celebrate community partners and leadership, both at SAIT and by students. Brooke Botcher joins us live from the Stangrad Center, just behind Heritage Hall, where the setup is almost complete. Brooke, it's looking pretty good so far.
Yes, Jake, it's looking fantastic, actually. So behind me here, there is these beautiful sculptures that the culinary students actually made out of sugar. And it looks like it's going to be a great night. The president asked for Dr. David Ross to bring donors and partners with SAIT into one room to have dinner and celebrate student success. SAIT career specialist Carrie Merritt says there are some new additions to the dinner this year, like fundraising. Carrie believes adding the new fundraising component to the dinner will be highly beneficial for SAIT. The President's Dinner is also a way of showing gratitude towards SAIT's donors and inviting new friends to SAIT to hear the President speak on what SAIT plans to do in the future. Hundreds will gather today, later in the afternoon, for the dinner. Back to you, Jake.
Brooke Botcher reporting live from the Stan Grad Center here at the SAIT campus. The President's Gala gets underway at 7 tonight. Those are today's top stories. We'll have your full forecast for you after the break. But first, Ray LaHoo has a look at what's going on around Calgary this week.
The Toronto Rock, they are hitting the road this weekend and will go face-to-face with the Calgary Roughnecks. Toronto stands 7-2 while Calgary is 5-6. Join in on the fun to have a meet and greet with Chase from Paw Patrol on both days. There will be other educational seminars, arts and crafts, face painting, and more for the whole family at Baby and Tote Show. At the Radio Astronomy Open House, there is going to feature many telescopes which are operated by the University of Calgary astronomers and others from the Royal Astronomical Society, given the opportunity to talk to astronomers while looking through telescopes. The Backstreet Boys, they are stopping in Calgary on their DNA World Tour, traveling across North America with their biggest tour in 18 years. And if you hurry, there's still tickets available at Ticketmaster. If you and your family are looking for a fun activity to do, well, there's recently been 5 new penguins that has arrived at the Calgary Zoo this year, joining 10 other penguins for a daily waddle starting at the Penguin Plunge.
Food, a basic necessity for everyone, but not everyone can get it for themselves or can afford it for that matter. But this is where Meals on Wheels comes into help. Meals on Wheels is a non-for-profit in Calgary. Their main objective is to promote health and independence in the community. Meals on Wheels does this by providing and delivering quality, nutritious, and affordable meals for everyone in our community. Meals on Wheels values their clients and understands their situation and needs. So short-term or long-term, Meals on Wheels is here to help.
Good afternoon and welcome back to SAIT Newsfile. Let's take a look at the weather around Canada today. In the western part of Vancouver, cloudy, 5 degrees there. More central though, Edmonton is sitting at -11, and Winnipeg, they're hogging all of that sun at -12. Regina, -11 as well. Sitting in the negatives, it is pretty chilly. Let's look at the Toronto side, the eastern Canada. Toronto -5, Montreal -9. And actually in Quebec, they're under a blizzard warning. So if you're in Quebec or if you are traveling to Quebec, do expect these conditions and also drive to the weather. In Halifax, -8, and St. John's up in the corner there, -10. Super sunny there as well though, but if you want to escape some of these cold temperatures, let's go to the resorts. Right now in Palm Springs, there's a wind advisory, so not the most relaxing tanning weather there. Over in Barbados, living up to their stereotype, rain showers are going down there with a strong gust of wind at 27 kilometers an hour. Over in Mexico, Cancun is at a blazing 25 degrees. Hit the slots in Vegas, it's sunny, sitting at 14. Today in Calgary, we are sitting at -17, super chilly, and there is some ice crystals outside. You definitely want to start your vehicle before you go anywhere. I know I did this morning. The wind is coming at us from the south at 9 kilometers an hour, but it is mostly sunshine throughout the day and pushing into the weekend. Let's take a look at the Alberta map. Up in Fort McMurray, northern Alberta, it is really chilly there, -22. Over this past week, we did have a jet stream under us, but that has now pushed up, and that's what's causing such frigid temperatures in Fort McMurray. Edmonton, more central, -11, cloudy. Red Deer, Calgary, they have lots of sunshine at -12, -9, not too bad. But Grand Prairie, they have some low pressure systems. That means it's making it a little bit more chilly for them over there, and they're also at -11. Let's take a look at the 5-day. Tonight we can expect a low of -15, but it will be clear, so no freezing temperatures or freezing rain or anything like that. Tomorrow you might want to expect some few flurries, so don't put away your shovels just yet, with a low of -13. And Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, all of the sunshine with a high of 3 degrees, 4, and 2, trying to stay out of those negatives, but Saturday night will be a low of 12. Let's take a look at the snow report. With a little bit of time left still in the season to hit the slopes, Fernie is in excellent condition with 2 centimeters of snow over the past 24 hours. And in Revelstoke, British Columbia, it's -7, pretty warm to spend a full day on the mountain with a base of 209 centimeters. And over in Mount Norquay, the snow conditions have been pretty inconsistent, only an 88 centimeter base, but it is full of sunshine up there. Snow conditions are looking good at Kicking Horse, currently sitting at -8. Keep in mind though, only 4 out of the 7 runs are open. If you don't feel like traveling too far from Calgary, Lake Louise, the snow there is in good condition to hit the slopes with a base of 127 centimeters. And over in Sunshine, BC, another mountain with some pretty inconsistent snow conditions due to spring approaching. There hasn't been a lot of snow, or it is melting. There's been 0 new snow over the past 24 hours, but the powder is keeping up there. There'll be a full day of sun and clouds, so take advantage of this.
So Kyle, I know the Calgary Flames are getting ready for the playoffs, but I hear there's another team in Calgary that's also getting ready for the postseason.
Absolutely, our very own State Trojans are getting amped up and ready to go for their playoff run. And let's take a look at what's going on in sports today. So, State Trojans men's hockey are gearing up for its 2019 playoff run, and the Trojans sit in a comfortable 4th place in their division with 17 wins and 11 regular season losses. In their last 4 games, they scored 18 goals, which is a lot, but they only won 1 of those final contests. 2 of those were dropped games were against the team of the Trojans will face in the next round, the Augustana Vikings. Despite the 3-game skid, the team's mood remains relaxed and optimistic.
A bit of a slow finish to the season there, but guys are ready to work, and it's always an exciting time of year, and I think a little adversity for the group is positive going into it.
The first game of that series starts tonight at 6, and you can catch the action at ACAC TV. The WHL is in the final stages before the playoffs. The Calgary Hitmen are trying to fend off the Med Hat Tigers for the final playoff spot and feeling better about their playoff odds. And Danny Seymour reports.
Say is, wow, what a comeback. The Hitmen asserted their dominance over the Medicine Hat Tigers last night and pick up another huge 2 points in their playoff push. After a rocky start, the team's coaching staff are very happy with how the latter half of the season is going.
Got off to a slower start as a group over the first 20 games and have had to kind of be lights out since. And I think that grit and resiliency are skills you refine and work on through the course of the year. And obviously heading into the playoffs, you want to be, going pointed in the right direction as much as you possibly can be.
Given how their season has gone recently, it's safe to say the Hitmen are pointed in the right direction. In the first half of this season, the Hitmen had Mark Kastelik as the face of their offense, but recently they've been getting scoring from a lot more outlets, and in impressive numbers. Second-year Hitmen forward Carson Folk is having a season to remember. Last night, Folk extended his points streak to 7 games, tallying 10 goals and as many assists in the last stretch. It seems like an incredible individual effort, but Folk knows he owes the success to his line mates.
It's just been this playoff push. All these points are important, so we're trying really hard every night. I think just the chemistry with my line has been great, and the chemistry on our power play has been awesome as well. I think we got a lot of really skilled guys on this team, so I think it's not surprising that more guys are starting to put up points and stuff. So yeah, I think it just goes to show the depth on our team.
The Hitmen's next game is tomorrow night at the Dome against the Edmonton Oil Kings. They'll look to ride their momentum into Friday night's tilt. For State Newsfile, I'm Danny Seymour.
The Flames battled it out last night against the Vegas Golden Knights. Right off the top, there was some action. A bit of a scuffle in front of the net. The puck gets passed from Mark Stone to Shea Theodore, and it rips past Riddick and secures the goal. Travis Hamonic manages to swat away a puck from the crease, fending off the Knights temporarily. And later in the first period, the Flames think they tie it up, but apparently the ref doesn't agree, and the goal is taken back due to goalie interference from Tkachuk. Now, halfway through the second, Travis Hamonic takes a pass from Sean Monahan and blasts it past Fleury to finally tie it up. The Golden Knights took the lead back in the third as a result of a controversial call which did lead to things getting a little heated in the dying seconds of the game. The Knights extinguished the Flames 2-1. The Calgary Flames will be playing in Arizona at 7 o'clock tonight. The Grey Cup is coming to Calgary, but many fans might be staying home to watch the action, and weather has nothing to do with it. An email was sent out to Calgary Stampeders season ticket holders last week outlining the seating map and pricing. Fans are reacting with outrage, claiming the prices are excessively high. General public prices start at $119 for nosebleed tickets compared to the $419 for some of the best seats. Discounted prices are available for season tickets, but fans say the prices have gone up at least $100 for silver level tickets since last year's event in Edmonton. When McMahon Stadium hosted the Grey Cup in 2009, they added temporary extra seating to fit 46,000 people. But they are not doing that this time around. Sandy Dubdyk, spokeswoman for the Calgary Grey Cup Committee, says the prices are fair for a big event. LeBron has officially passed Jordan on the scoring list. LA Lakers forward LeBron James is now in 4th place on the NBA's all-time scoring list. James scored his 32,293rd point on a driving layup in the second quarter against the Nuggets. But Denver took the win with 115-99 over the Lakers in Los Angeles. LeBron James was wearing a special pair of Nikes with "Thank you, MJ" written on the side. James says he idolized Jordan growing up, but couldn't afford his own Air Jordans. He says he dreamed that one day he would have his own shoes. James says the tribute doesn't scratch the surface of what Jordan meant to him, and he thanks Jordan more than he will ever know. LeBron said hopefully he can inspire the next generation of kids the same way. There are 2 NBA games scheduled tonight, Indiana at Milwaukee and Oklahoma City at Portland. The NBA content will soon be available for the first time through e-commerce company Alibaba. Joseph Tsai, the executive vice president and co-founder of Alibaba, is also a minority owner of the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets will play a couple exhibition games against the Lakers in China, where basketball is one of the most popular sports. The league said Wednesday that programming such as game highlights and classic games will be some of the content available on the NBA section to the near 700 million Alibaba customers. The content will be available through the regular and post-season. President of UFC Dana White says Donald Cerrone and Conor McGregor are nowhere close to a fight. Cerrone expressed his desire to fight the Irishman back in January after he beat Alex Fernandez. He would later post a picture of a bottle of Budweiser and a bottle of proper Irish whiskey on Instagram with the caption "Budweiser versus proper Irish whiskey" on July 6th. But the Irishman would have none of it. Dana White said after meeting with McGregor that the Irishman will not fight unless it's in the main event. White is currently looking into other opponents for Cerrone. The Boston Red Sox pitcher Stephen Wright has been suspended. Wright tested positive for human growth hormone and will sit out the first 80 games of the season. The Blue Jays have finalized a minor league contract with 34-year-old Bud Norris to get him in their big league camp. The right-hander has had 47 saves over the past 2 seasons for the Cardinals and the Angels. He went 3-6 with a 3.59 ERA and 28 saves in 64 games with St. Louis last year. Over his career, he's had 67 wins and 90 losses. He has appeared in 355 games, started in 188 of them, and achieved 1,153 strikeouts. And that's a look at today's sports. What have you been thinking about the hockey tournament so far?
That was a lot of sports.
Oh, yes.
But no, it's cool to see how many teams in Calgary are gearing up for the playoffs here. I know I'm excited for the Red Mile, and you can bet that this whole city is going to be electric when that time comes around. I just hope they can get a little bit better before then.
Absolutely, and hopefully things with the Grey Cup maybe cheapen out a little bit.
Yeah. Those are today's top stories. After the break, we will take a look at our feature video of the day.
There are hundreds of people living on Calgary streets despite unpredictable weather conditions. The Drop-In Center provides all the services they need to upgrade their life and make it a little better. They provide fresh cooked meals, medical care, and a warm place to stay. The Calgary Drop-In Center is always available to help people in need get back on their feet and start a new and improved life. Contact or donate today at calgarydropin.com.
This is Jackson, and this is Scout. And both of these dogs were once rescue animals. The only reason why was because of their previous owners, not the dogs. At the Cochrane and Area Humane Society, we find good animals, good homes, from their large dog training facilities to the quiet, relaxing cat rooms. You'll have great spaces to meet and learn about the animals that most interest you. Come check out Cochrane and Area Humane Society today. It's just off Griffin Road.
Welcome back. With the recent cold snap, clothing donations for the homeless are that much more important. One Calgary woman has found a way to bring everyone together with a clothing swap. Anthony Vespa has more.
It's a problem we've all had. Overflowing closets filled with clothes we never wear. It was this very problem that prompted Stefania Perevanitsky to start holding clothing swaps.
I really like clothing, and so I collect a lot of it, inevitably, and this is just a way that I found that keeps me accountable. It makes me go through my closet and purge once a season, really, and that keeps me from holding on to old things, and then it's a nice way of pretty much getting new clothes for free.
The rules are simple. Bring your unwanted clothes and present them to the group. Any items that don't get picked up go into a pile and are donated after the swap.
Everyone tries to almost sell their pieces and talk them up, and it's fun that way.
A couple weeks ago, all our lady friends kind of had a clothing swap, and it looked like a great time, and they all got rid of some clothes and got some new pieces, and we thought, why can't the boys also have a clothing swap? So it turns out guys also have a ton of extra clothes that they don't wear, so we bagged it all up and we had a great time.
When would I wear this? We all picked up a couple good items, and we gave away a lot of items that we weren't using anymore, so I think it worked out pretty well.
At the end of the day, you are left with a sizable donation of clothing, and hopefully, a few new items for yourself.
This is absolutely getting added to the bike wear. Very good.
Bike wear.
Now, NBA players are known for their notorious style, and they usually walk into the arena wearing some sort of fun outfit, but for Cavs shooting guard J.R. Smith, walking is overrated.
5 for work, apparently. He hasn't exactly been rolling in the finals so far. He's shooting 34%, but happy to be here nonetheless.
Oh, man. I need, you know me, Mr. Gadget, I need one. Oh, man. Zeke, you look well on those two, Zeke.
Okay, so the only thing I could think about while I was watching that was how entertaining it would have been if he would have just swerved sideways and like taken out a security guard or something like that.
Or like runs into the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been so much better.
Kind of a lazy entrance for an athlete.
Yeah, dude, like you get paid to run around for a living and you're walking into the game on a hoverboard.
I've never even tried to like go on one of those things. They freak me out. I know I would fall on my face.
They're not
It's
easy.
like a Segway without a handle.
Yeah, the wheels rotate on like 2 different levels, and then you can like, that's how you turn.
Yeah, see, I just, nope, I'm such a klutz.
The first time I rid one of those, it was like, shoom, bam, straight down, but what can you do?
It happens.
Ray is going to take a look at our 5-day forecast before the end of the show.
That's right. Tonight we can expect a low of 15, but there will be no freezing rain or anything like that. So that's great. Pushing into this weekend, full of sunshine and a high of 4 on Sunday.
For all of us here at State Newsfile, thank you very much for joining us. That's Ray LaHoo, that's Kyle Hutton, and I'm Jake Foster.